Let's get started. This is a really important thing to understand. You know, when we first announced the mission and the vision a year and a half ago, or I guess close to 2 years ago now, right, Malcolm? Yeah, yep. 2 years ago, it was a bunch of words. Our mission was to preserve the property values, ambiance, and vitality of our community. But as we faced the situation with the country club, we had threats to those very things. And now, if you look at this mission, it explains entirely why we're taking the actions we are to assure that the country club does not get into a position of selling their property in the middle of our community. So yesterday we announced that we are purchasing the club property. And that is our way, the way, to preserve our open spaces, which is the #1 point in driving property values in this community. The green space sells us. If we lose the green space, we lose property value. The clubhouse and the other amenities, which we are also purchasing, provide the ambiance that is known, what the Meadows is known for. The golf courses, the tennis, the wellness, the walking trails, all of that is the vitality of our community. So following this mission statement led us to where we are now. And then if we change over to the vision, which is to be known as a well-maintained, welcoming, safe community with up-to-date housing, activities, and services designed to meet the needs of all our residents. Okay, this is where we're going from here. We are working to find a developer who can do building on the property right around the country club that has been rezoned, and we're looking for a builder that is going to lead us in the direction of new housing that is attractive, new housing that will bring in people, and new housing that will help raise property values. And we're building teams of volunteers, of people in our community that are going to lead us to having new activities and meeting the needs of all the residents. I mean, we have all of these teams. A lot of them are new teams. Most of them are new teams. And they're giving us new activities. We have a fitness, wellness class, is that what it's called, Maryland? Wellness? Yes. Starting this week. We've got the Wildlife and Water Committee working to get our ponds in line. We've got a community involvement group and activities teams. So things are going on all over the place that are going to lead us to that vision. So what we call the Renaissance of the Meadows has started. We've also realigned our existing committees and infrastructure, and in all of these committees, we're not doing anything really different. We changed the focus. We're looking to encouraging people to improve rather than looking for violators. We're looking to lead the way in standards and best kept to people doing more with their houses, and that it's all part of the same program, all part of the same plan. So everything we're doing is leading us in the direction of achieving our long-term plan and our vision and mission. So now we'll talk specifically about the country club. And for those who aren't as familiar with the problem as some of the others, I'm going to do a quick recap of where we were, and then we'll go to where we are now, and then a bit of where we're probably going. Okay. The country club was facing declining memberships, and we're talking now. This all started 3 years ago, Madeline? Yeah, when the rezoning team. So this has been going on for a while. This is not new. It didn't just happen. There was declining revenue, and they wanted to go, and they said, we're going to rezone 32 acres We're going to sell, we're going to get housing around there, and we're going to make a whole lot of money, and we'll fix all of our problems. And the new people who come in will be new members to the club, and that will help make everything look better. And it was a great and glorious plan, and it looked good at that time. The only problem is that didn't work. And then they had to strike another deal with Belmont Park, which was to develop everything, sell the entire club and all the property, and they were going to build 520 houses strategically. I think originally they were going to keep open the clubhouse and one golf course, but as the deal went on, that went away too. So in November of last year, the whole deal collapsed. I mean, Neil had come in, Neil came in as a partner in the deal when things got questionable. And what he said is, instead of $20 million and a new clubhouse and a golf course, it went down to $8 million, no clubhouse, no golf courses. So things really changed, and that's when it just went south. So when we realized that was going to happen and there was no deal, you have to realize the club had been counting on a deal for about a year, and the bank was going along with them because the end was in sight, the big payout was coming. And then when all of that went away, the country club was in real trouble. And that's when we decided we would step in and buy the bank note from the bank and hold it ourselves as an investment. And we knew when we did that that was just a Band-Aid to keep the club afloat for a little while we came up with a longer-term plan. But it was the only way that we knew to make sure that there was no bankruptcy, because when a property like that goes into bankruptcy, all of your covenants and restrictions on it, no matter what kind of documents they're in, are at risk. And our covenants and restrictions are the one thing that we have between us and development on the golf courses. So we purchased the notes in March. But that was, as I said, a stopgap measure. So what we announced yesterday is that we purchased, it was the second step in our process. We purchased, we sat a letter of intent, let me be clear about that, a letter of intent to purchase the property of the club, the property and the land of the club. Now, what does that mean? What are we buying? Okay, that's 330 acres of property, 300 of which are open green space. The golf club complex that has 3 courses, 54 holes of golf, 2 pro shops, 2 cart barns, 2 maintenance sheds, a snack bar, 2 driving ranges, and 2 putting greens. We also bought the tennis complex, which houses 17 tennis courts, a tennis pro shop, teaching facilities for tennis, and a restaurant and an outdoor deck. And there's a swimming pool with the locker rooms and all of that we bought. And then we bought the clubhouse with 2 restaurants, a banquet and lounge facilities, offices and meeting rooms, and the wellness center with card rooms and a library. So we bought a whole lot of stuff in addition to 300 acres of green space. So what are we doing with it? We're leasing it back to the country club, and they are going to continue to have Billy Casper Golf manage the program. We're doing a 3-year lease, and Billy, it's in the terms of the lease and in terms of the agreement that Billy Casper will stay on. We believe Billy Casper Golf has done a fabulous job, in the 2 years they've been there, and they've got the club on a road to financial stability. They have developed, working with us, a plan that shows that by year 3, they'll be in the green. Not bright green, but in the green, which is a lot better than where they are. So we are counting on that working. And the reason we did this deal this way is because it is the most effective and economical way to do this. If we, as some people have suggested we should have, bought the club outright, we would have to spend a whole lot of money on licenses and fees, and we'd have to transfer all their licenses, and we'd have to get a new liquor license. We'd have to pay taxes on everything, and we are 2 separate kinds of not-for-profits. The tax situation was a nightmare. So by letting the 2 entities survive, we've gotten around a whole bunch of fees, costs of surveys, major title searches, stuff that we would have had to spend that we really didn't get much of a return for. So this way, they stay doing what they do. Excuse me. And another thing that was very important in the considerations as far as I was concerned is by keeping the club going, members do not have to make a decision to join another club. If we create another club, everybody has to decide to join. This way, by keeping the same club going, they have to make a decision and take an action not to be part of it. And whenever you ask people to make a decision and they start thinking about it, it's not as guaranteed as if it just sort of happens and things go on same old, same old. So that's why we did what we did. And then I'll talk a little bit about the money. We've heard a lot about the money. And I have to tell you, we're paying $6 million for the club property, and it's payable over 3 years. And out of that money, the club will pay us what they owe us. Okay, so that means they're going to pay the roughly $1.9 million to pay off the mortgage and line of credit we hold on them. So that will happen. 2.9. I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ken. Yeah, 2.9 million. Okay, so that leaves us 3.1 million that we need to pay. Now, 1 million of that has been assigned to repay the member loans. We will pay that to the club. The club will use it to repay its members. So, and then the balance of the money will be paid out over the next 3 years to fund improvements and for operating costs. Now, this deal was designed by a team from the MCA and the club working together. And it truly was a cooperative deal. We looked at the money the club needed to survive. We looked at what needed to be paid to create a clear title, because we really want a clear title that would allow us to do development in the future and allow us to say fully we own that property, clear. And that was one of our priorities here. We had to have a clear title. And then we also looked at what money the MCA could afford and how much money we could afford to get without encumbering us with a mortgage. Because we don't want to get saddled with a mortgage at this point that would hamper us from going on with the rest of our Renaissance program. I mean, we really do want to do the development that'll come following this. We do want to do the new signage and the upgrades and all. It's all part of the plan. So we didn't want to tie us up totally here. Now we'll have the flexibility when we get in the position to take the next step of saying, okay, we can pay off this line of credit and get a larger mortgage that would allow us to go forward. But if we already had a mortgage, it's more difficult. People don't want to deal with you quite as readily. So that is our plan. And we worked really hard to create a program that covered everybody's needs. It was totally cooperative. It was, look, this is what we need. Okay, we understand what you need. This is all we have. So how can we make this work? And that's what we did. I mean, it sort of looks a little silly when people read it, but it is the best way we could both achieve our goals. And the next steps, we need to sign an agreement of sale, and which we are working on. That'll be not too complicated. And we have a draft of a lease, and it is a 3-year lease, and it is what is called a triple net lease, which means the tenant is responsible to pay the taxes and for all ongoing expenses, and building insurance, maintenance, and utilities, plus our assessments. Okay, but we are charging a nominal fee, $10 a year. The reason for that is quite simple. They don't have the money. If we charged a higher fee, we would be driving them to bankruptcy, which is exactly what we don't want to have happen. We want them to stay afloat and keep going, because now if they go bankrupt and we own all the land, then we have to maintain it. With them maintaining it as golf course, we don't have to pay to maintain it. If they close up the golf course, we either have to open another golf course or come up with another way to fund maintaining that grass. So the easiest way is to keep the golf courses running. And the golf courses, all 3 of them, are profitable. Okay, they all make a little bit of money. Granted, the meadows, where the members play and where the dues get deposited, makes a lot of money. It's very attractive. The other 2, though, make a little bit of money. And for our purposes, making a little bit of money is a good thing. We've got a lot of green space that's costing us nothing. So that's why we're doing that. It also is in, it will be in the lease, and it is in all of the contracts that we've signed to date. We will keep a hand in at the club. We're not running the club, but we are going to be linked very closely to the club. There will be representatives, there'll be a board member on the board of the country club, a non-voting board member, but the idea there is not to control, but to influence, to make sure as they're making decisions, they hear our side. And then there'll be members on all of the major committees. We get an appointment on each of the major golf course, country club community boards. We also have approval of their budget, and we get monthly financial reviews. And we've committed to working together on whatever development happens on the country club project. Now, working together to build the plan is what we will do. There will be no division of the proceeds at all. The proceeds will be all ours, because as soon as we sign this agreement, it's all our land. And we're working on some new memberships for residents, because we really, really need residents to support this and need residents to become part of the club and the activities. The deal that we're talking about has met some goals that we have set for ourselves. Number 1 goal is protect and preserve the green space. Okay, this does it. We own it. So if anybody makes any changes in it, it's us. It guarantees the meadow a broad range of amenities. We all like our amenities. They've been here since the beginning. So we will still have golf and tennis and all of those things available to residents. And it will allow the development to be coordinated with the Renaissance plan. In other words, as the owners of the property, we make the decision on where the development happens, how the development happens, and who does it. So we make sure it fits in with everything else we do, and what's equally important, we dictate the timing of what happens in development, because our Renaissance plan is going to be a multifaceted plan, and the timing is going to be really critical. So we will control all of that. And the country club meets some of its goals, and this is important. I mean, if the country club doesn't win here, we're not going to win either. So the country club continues operation while it develops new programs and gains financial stability. And it's happening. There are new programs over there. The place is exciting and hopping, and they're doing new things, and the money is coming in and the members are coming in. So that's good. And it eliminates debt and provides cash to make improvements. So they're able to function. They're able to do some basic improvements. They can't, this deal does not fund the building of new buildings. It's none of the exciting stuff that was in the original deal, but it will, as Andrew, the club manager, said, it will allow us to put some lipstick on the pig. So that's what's going to happen, and that's pretty important. So, and for the golfers, they'll see new improvements. I think some are already seeing them, and it'll allow them to spiff up the place a bit. Okay. Now where do we go from here? Well, we need the community to support the club. We need the new packages that are coming when they come out for people to participate in them. And we need to working with the MCA. The club is going to offer programs and activities that benefit the entire community. They're trying this, and when they're trying it, it's working. So, I mean, I know everybody has horror stories about what happened in the past, but what we have to do is let the past be past now and work on building a new future together. And if we can all be committed to that, I think it can work. I'm convinced it will work. And we have to support the sustaining members of the club. What does that mean? That's the folks who belong to the club for a lot of years and have paid their dues a lot of years. And we want them to be happy. We want them to stay at the club, and we want them to be respected because they pay a lot of dues. If they stop paying those dues, our financial burden becomes larger. So, we really need this to be a joint endeavor. That's why I'm showing you this. I took the picture myself. I'm guilty. It's not so beautiful. But this is a 1980s brochure when they were originally selling the Highlands. It's framed out in the lobby if you really want to see what it looks like. I put it up here in an effort to show everybody that this club community together concept is not new. That is really from the very beginning in the 70s. Taylor Woodrow sold the Meadows as the Meadows lifestyle. Be a part of the Meadows lifestyle. And in this brochure here, you see that there's no picture of houses at all. They weren't selling the houses. They were selling golf, tennis, biking. You can't see it, but off to the end there was a horse. We had horseback riding. It's the lifestyle that brought people to the Meadows in the beginning, and I believe it's the lifestyle that's going to allow the Meadows to keep its value and to elevate the value. We have to play up the lifestyle. Of course, we want nice housing is important, but the lifestyle is what really sells and differentiates us from a lot of the places around here. We have a new slogan that actually is kind of scary to think of. Our new slogan came from the treasurer. I'm never one to put a lot of money in creatives from the Treasury Department, from the treasurer, but it is. The Meadows, Florida life at its best. And I think that's what we've got and what we can deliver. So I just want to close with a quote from Henry Ford. Coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, working together is success. This is not a battle of the community, club versus community. It's we're in this together. We have come together. This first step brings us together. But it's only the beginning. It's not going to take us where we need to go. And keeping together is what we're doing now. Getting all of these agreements in place, getting new programs in place, and working out all the details. And I can tell you from personal experience, it's not easy, it's not pleasant. It often gets unpleasant. But for the most part, it is working, and we're learning how to work together, and we're coming together, and we're both making the changes we need to make to have a successful partnership. And then only when we're able to really say we are working together, we are moving, we share common goals and objectives, will we have achieved success in that partnership. And then that will make our renaissance of the Meadows real, 100% real. We'll have done it, and we'll all be able to be proud. We right now can say we have started it, and we're moving well along the way. But we have to keep working to get to where we want to go. We have not achieved all of our goals yet. So, thank you.